and I am a support specialist here at Planning Center. Sorry. Today we're going to be talking about registrations. We're going to start with the attendee side, looking at Church Center. Then we're going to move to the admin side and look at how that all setup works. And then we're going to finish off with Checkistrations, which is our beloved integration with the check-ins application. Before I get too far, I want to show you if you have any questions at any point, whether that's today while I'm talking or later on, anytime a question comes up in any of Planning Center, you can click on the question mark in the top right corner, and that will open up our support doc, or our support site. It will suggest some articles for the page that you're on. You can ask a question to search our entire documentation, open up our documentation, or you can contact support, of which I am a member. Right now, our reply time is 49 minutes, so if you ask a question there, you will get the response before I am done talking today. This is also the place, if you have a feature request of any kind, to just open up a ticket, send that into support, and they will take care of you. If you would like to watch this lovely video later, whether that's alone or with friends, you can do that at planning.center/university. Okay, let's dive in to the attendee site. So this is Church Center. This is my church's registration site on our Church Center app, and it has a list of all the events. So I'm going to show you how to set up all of this stuff in the second portion of today's video, but right now we're just going to look at this is what it looks like for anyone going to this site. You can see we've got campus filters, we got categories, we have my profile up here, and then we've got all of our different events. So we've got the name and the dates. It's sorted by date. It's very convenient that way. We're going to work today in the spring retreat event, and we can see we've got dates, we've got a price, and that price comes off of the attendee types, the different costs associated with those. And you're going to hear me say attendee type a lot today. Everything in registrations is built around the concept of an attendee type, so just get ready for that. We have got a beautiful picture here, and then we have details. So this is all information that we've added on the admin side, the dates and times, as well as those attendee types I was talking about. We have the different names of them, as well as the cost associated and how many spots are left. We've got a discount going on here, which I'll get to later. So we're gonna go ahead and start with registering my family. So today we're just gonna register these two. And so it automatically is going to filter based on the attendee type that meets their restrictions. So set that all up on the back end. Automatically going to fill it out because their profiles are fully filled out. I'm already logged in. I didn't go through that part because I registered for another event recently. So it keeps me logged in for a few weeks, which is really convenient. It keeps my whole family showing up for me so I don't have to remember anyone's names and all their information. It just remembers everything. It also, if there was somebody else I wanted to register, whether that was another family member or a friend, you can click on this Add Someone Else, and you can start that process for registering someone else. You want to make sure that your parents are logging in and registering as themselves so that they are the registration contact. Otherwise, if they log in as a kid and then register the kid, all of the correspondence would be addressed to the kid's name, which might not be the best. So Ben and Ada, it automatically picked the right attendee types for them, so we're just going to go ahead and go to next. And all of this personal information is required for the attendee type, which we'll talk about in a bit. He has asthma and it remembers it from a previous thing. The emergency contact, it's going to fill in my information automatically. If I wanted to change that to somebody else, I could do that. He would like a youth camp t-shirt, so he's going to get a medium. And he wants to do some arts and crafts projects, so we're going to go ahead and let him do 2. And then he is going to juggle for the talent show. And he would like to do the skate park. So now that I've filled out all of his information, just going to keep going on to the next one. So it's very intuitive. It just does everything for you. Makes sense. So here is Ada. It's got all of her information saved for me. Same with the emergency contact. She would also like a t-shirt, but she's tiny. And she is going to do the zip line. She's a bit adventurous. And then she wants to do archery. So then the next portion is going to give us the overview of everything that we've already filled out. So it's got a breakdown of each person, their attendee type, the cost of each add-on that they've picked, If there was anything I needed to change at this point, I could click on this edit and just look at it, make the changes there. It's going to show us the discounts that they qualify, so those early bird ones that come from registering early, as well as a group discount here that I will talk about later, but it looks like it's 20% of the whole cost. And then down here we have a discount code, so we can put in a code and get another discount if needed. Otherwise, we have the full breakdown again of this is how much we've gotten for the early bird discounts, and this is how much we've gotten for that group discount. Then we've got a total and the balance due. Now, we can pay online by credit or debit card. If it's an Apple device, you can pay by Apple Pay. We have partnered with Stripe we've got a really good contract with them. We have Stripe rate for all credit and debit transactions is 2.15% plus 30 cents per transaction. So Stripe is our only payment processor, and we have a great rate and relationship with them. So I'm gonna go ahead and enter in my super secret card number. And so we have different options here we've set up on the back end where we can pay the full amount, or I can pay a minimum deposit, or I can pay some amount in between those. So we're gonna go ahead and pay the 400 right there. So finish and pay. And now it's going to take us to our confirmation screen, and that's going to give us, we've got a few forms that we need to fill out for each person. So each attendee has a medical release form that they need to fill out. So with the forms, there's going to be two types. There's going to be a PDF form that is uploaded onto the site, and then your attendees download it, fill it out, and send it in. And then we have the other one will be the formistration. So that's the people forms integrating with registrations. And looking at this one here, I can fill it out when I'm logged in for everyone in my registration. So I'm going to submit this for Ada because she's doing the zip line, that I trust them that she won't get hurt, or if she does, I won't sue them. So, she doesn't have any medical notes, so we'll go ahead and submit that and then close the window. And now if I refresh this page, it's going to show us that zip line is completed. So I got a little checkbox. It tells me how much I've paid, how much is due, and again gives me an option to pay the rest of my balance. Looking at this page, I can also go to my profile, my registrations, and it's got a list of all the events that I've registered for and tells me if I have any that are incomplete and need attention for any reason. So for these, I have those two PDF forms I need to do, as well as I need to pay the balance. And I can click on either of these and get straight back to that page to finish off that registration. So that is the church center side of things. If I needed to edit things here, I can edit any of the questions or the personal information, but as an attendee, I cannot edit the add-ons or add another attendee. That is something that can be done from the admin side, but it's not something your attendees can do on their own. And all of this stuff on Church Center it works and looks the same here on the web as it does on our Church Center app, which is a free app that you can your entire congregation can download onto their phones, log in, and do all of the things. It works with registrations, giving groups, and people forms, so it's really great. So that is all we have for the attendee side. Now, moving on to the admin side. This is the landing page for registrations. It's going to give us a lot of information, so we'll just break it down here. Starting across the top, we're going to go to the people side, and this is where if you needed to add an admin, give someone admin access, you could do that from their profile. You would click on it and then click on permissions, and you would make them an admin. So it would tell you if they're an overall admin for all of registrations, if they're not, or if they are an event manager. So an event manager is someone who is an overall admin for a specific event. They can do all of the admin things within one event, which I will show you how to do that in a moment. The payments tab is going to give us a list of all the payments that have happened through registrations. It's going to default to the last 30 days. You can export to a spreadsheet here or get a quick link straight to your Stripe dashboard. You can also filter by other amount or other time periods and change based on different payment methods. So it's a great place to get a look at all of your recent payments. Over on the right side of the registration page, we've got a list of everyone who has registered recently. So we've got this one that I just did. We've got a bunch of other ones. It tells us what event it was for, what time it was done. So looking over on the left side, we've got a list of the events, their names, their dates, and the breakdown information. So it's the high-level overview of all of your events. We have different kinds of events. So we have those that are open for signups and those that are announcement only. So for example, this, which one is it? I don't know where it went. Oh, the All Church Picnic. I was looking at a different part. The All Church Picnic is an announcement only event. So it's signups, its status is none. It's not collecting signups. So the setup side of it is very limited. It's just information only. You can pick categories and campuses and dates and times and pictures, but you aren't selecting any attendee types or anything like that. It's just information only. On the Church Center side, it looks very similar to a normal registration until you click on it and there's nothing about signing up on it. It just says this is, which I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So we'll go to Church Center again and an event and the All Church Picnic. So very limited, just has those details, dates and times. That is an announcement only event. We can also filter this list of events by campus, by category, and search for it. The category is also going to show you where your archived events are. So once an event's over and you don't need to look at it anymore, you can archive it away and you don't have to look at it. So we are in the spring retreat. Okay, so this, again, a lot of information on this page. I've got different tabs here, and we're just going to dive into all this left side stuff. We're going to start with the setup. So the details are those event details that are on the Church Center site. So your event description, which we use Markdown for formatting, and this doc here will tell you how to do Markdown. It's basically these fun little short codes that make things happen magically. It's great. You can use that Markdown to make the details page look very easy to read and understandable. You can use an event image. We have an integration with Unsplash that allows for thousands and thousands of beautiful free photos. When you click on here, it's going to search based on what your event title is, and then you can just scroll through here, find one you like, or change the search and find something that's specific to what you're looking for. But I like the mountain ones. So the categories here are, you can add those, edit those from the main admin page, but then assign them to your events here, and then change the dates and times, and select the campuses. And the campuses are going to be set in your accounts page. So an org admin will need to log into the account to adjust those settings. Next will be the Church Center part. So this is the registration status is so open or closed for those events that have signups, and none for those ones that don't. Once you convert it to an announcement-only event, you can't change it back. So this one has collected signups, so it's just either open or closed. You can set it to automatically open and close. So if it were closed now, I could say it's going to open tomorrow, and then it'll close again next week. But right now it is open, and it's going to close automatically just before my event. The visibility here is how visible is it on Church Center. Everyone, meaning anyone can view it. Link only, meaning only people who are sent the URL for this event will be able to log in and register for it. And then hidden. And those hidden ones are those ones that you want to set it up beforehand and not let anybody see it, and then eventually make it public to people. So a hidden event, even if they have the URL for that specific event, they won't be able to see it. So this is both on that Church Center web page and your Church Center app. The guest registrations are for those times when you want to just quickly collect signups for something. You're not asking for any personal information. You just want to know who's coming. Those the guest registration path will take them without having to log in. If you are collecting any kind of personal information for your people, they will have to log in, so it might not be the best way for those situations. But if it's something where you just want to know that, yes, I'm coming, the guest registration path is great for that. The support contact is the person who is listed in the confirmation email that I forgot to show you. I will show you that now. So this is the confirmation email that you get when you register. So it's going to show all of the attendees, their forms. You can click on these forms to get to their, to fill them out. If it's a PDF form, to download it. If it's a people form, it will log you in and you can fill out the form right then. It'll get a breakdown of what they registered, as well as the total amounts. And then this portion here is going to be a custom part that we can add on the admin side later on. But then here on the bottom, we've got the support contact. So that is here, which I have changed it since I got that confirmation email, because that's an old confirmation email, but don't tell anybody. So this support contact is that person that will be listed there on each confirmation page. Permissions. So the permission page is where you're going to set up that event manager. I have added the youth pastor here because it is a youth retreat. So that way he is not a full level admin able to access all of my registration events, but he can access this one and do everything he needs to there. It's really great in those cases when you don't want to give someone full access, but they just need to be able to edit their own events. Notifications is where we're going to adjust the confirmation email. So that same information that you saw in the confirmation, just that editable part, and then the notification list. And this is going to send out an email to every single person, every single time somebody registers or cancels. So their registration is canceled. It will send an email to that person. And this doesn't have to be someone who is an admin at all. If it's someone who just wants to know the comings and goings of this event, you can set that up and send them an email each time. Attendee types. Now this is the big one. This is where everything hinges upon. So within each attendee type, we have a lot of different options. We can show it on Church Center, meaning it's available publicly. We can unclick this box and then it would only be available for an admin who is registering someone on the admin side. We can also restrict it to different genders. You can restrict it by age or grade. So if you didn't want to do it by grade, you wanted to do it just for infants or for preschoolers, for those not in a grade, or if you wanted it to be all 12-year-old girls, you could do exactly 12 years and female. So like exactly and the years, if I can type, and female. So that's going to restrict this attendee type for just 12-year-old girls as of the first date of my event. The cost over here on the right, this is set per attendee type, and then you can allow a partial payment, which will allow that minimum deposit, and then set exactly what minimum deposit you want to do. If you are accepting cash and check for your registrations, you can set that minimum deposit to 0, and they can completely finish their registration without having to pay anything online, and then send in their check or their cash that way and apply it on the admin side. The big part here is the information to collect. And this is all information that's tied to their profile in People. So it's got their all of that basic profile fields, the address, email, phone. For a child's attendee type, we tend to recommend requiring just the gender, birth date, and grade, and then hiding the address, email, and phone because we're not, a third grader doesn't have an email address normally. So that information is all stored here within each one. So it's going to show us what the restrictions are, what the cost is, what the minimum deposit is, and how many attendees we have for each one. We can also see here at the very bottom, we've got the total number of attendees and the capacity. So each one of these is going to a different camp, so each one has a specific capacity. We don't have a limit on how many cabin leaders we're asking or that we need or that we're allowing to come, but we do have a total of 200. So this number here is not added up from those. It's just an overall, this is how many total attendees that we're collecting for this event. For the add-ons. Add-ons can be restricted to specific attendee types. For example, our youth camp t-shirt is only available for the children. Those adults that register, we don't want to ask them if they want a youth t-shirt because that would be weird. But each one has a specific variation, and we can set a quantity on those variations as well as a price. So within the page, it's going to tell us how many have been sold and allow us to pick all these different options. You can hide an add-on from Church Center. You can make it partial payment so they don't have to pay for it up front. For example, if you had an event where they could register without having to pay, but they did have to pay for their t-shirt up front, you wouldn't want to enable that. Allowing attendees to purchase more than one will let them pick where they can buy more than one of the specific variation that they've chosen. And then again, it gets restricted by specific attendee types. So I've got a few here that have variations, and then a few here that don't. For example, the snack bar credit, there's no variation on that, but they can purchase more than one. Next, we can also look at how many were purchased on this page as well. That's a nice high-level overview of all my add-ons. Next, we've got questions. So the questions are those required information points or those text fields that you want to ask your attendees, but it's not necessarily something that they have to pay for. So, for example, we're asking all of our high school attendees if they're interested in becoming a small group leader. So this one is a multiple choice one, so they can say yes, no, or maybe. This multiple selection here, so right now it's a drop down where they can pick just one. If I changed it to a multiple selection, it would turn it into the checkbox, similar to the activity one that looked like a checkbox, so they can be in more than one. With questions, again, you can hide it on Church Center or not. You can make it required. If it's hidden from Church Center, it can't be required because that will break things. And then again, restrict it to or only ask it of certain attendee types. With the questions and with the add-ons, you can rearrange the order that they appear and on the attendee types as well. So if we wanted to change the order that they appear in all of my drop downs, I can just drag and drop and it will rearrange it automatically. So for the questions, this camp one should be included in the camp information. And it actually should be required because I want to know for all the cabin leaders, that everyone that's registering as a cabin leader, which camp are you wanting to register for? So everything looks good there. And then the forms. So again, we've got those two kinds of forms. We have a PDF and then we have a people form. With the PDF, if I click here, it's going to open up that PDF for me so that I can see what it looks like. And for the people forms, it's going to open up that form in a new tab for me to look at. You can, again, require these only based on specific attendee types, but additionally, you can have them only asked of certain add-ons. For example, the Zipline activity release is only asked of those who have purchased that Zipline add-on. It's really great for those like extracurricular activities that have their own certain requirements there. So that is the forms. With discounts, we have three kinds of discounts. So we have the early bird, a code, and a group. You can only have one discount per person, so you can't have two early bird discounts apply to a person or two codes or two groups. But the groups kind of stacks apart, and I will explain how that works in just a moment. With the early bird, it is a date defined that it's up until this date, this percent or this amount off. All of the discounts can be either a flat rate that you type in how much you want it to be for, or it can be a percentage. So if you pick a percentage, we've got a drop-down menu that's got a ton of options there that you can pick your favorite one. You can choose for the discount to apply to an add-on. So if you want them to, if their attendee type is less than this discount, you could have it can also apply to the add-on. Or if their discount is a percentage, have it applied to a percentage of their add-on. With discounts, again, you can have them apply to only certain attendee types. And it gives me a nice checkbox list of all of those. For the codes, same thing with the percent or the flat rate, but it's, again, also only available to certain attendee types and all of the fun things. So with the group discounts, so for this one it's for all groups of attendees that are more than one person. So it's applied to just these certain attendee types. So if I have a registration that has 2 or more kids in it, every kid after the first one gets 20% off their entire registration, including the add-ons. And then I also have a third child discount. So any group of attendees that is a child, those 3 attendee types, and there's 3 of them, the second kid gets that second child discount, and the third and on get this third child discount. So they kind of stack together, which I will show you how that works on a specific registration so you don't have to try to math on your own. At any time, if you have trouble with the discounts, I know they can be confusing sometimes, so just write into support and we will help you figure out how to get it, the exact amounts that you're looking for. The final part of the setup is scholarships. So scholarships are the things that that somebody doesn't have to pay for all of their registration on their own. So we have a benevolence fund set up over in Giving for those tax deductible contributions. Words are hard. So we're tracking that over in Giving, but then we're also denoting it here that this is how much has come into that fund. They don't tie together, so I do have to update this manually, but it is a great way for me to keep track of both how much has come in and how much I've applied. We've also done a car wash for our fundraiser, so every kid worked a little bit and they have a certain portion that I can apply to them, so I can see exactly how much has come in, how much is used, and how much I have left over. Okay, going to our main registration page. So I can look and see the list of all my attendees. So I have on the left side of this, I've got the registration information. So this is what date they registered. This is how much this registration owes or has paid or is a refund or those things. But then on the right side, everything from the attendee to the right is going to be specific to that attendee. So their name, what attendee type, if I'm missing any personal information, if they're missing a question, or if they're missing a form, and how many forms. So this way I know exactly what is missing from each one, and I accidentally clicked on it. Okay, so I can look at this high-level thing and see exactly who is missing what information. I can also filter by all of this information. The filters are really great for looking, for example, I want to know who has a refund due. So any of those events where you have a lot of people, the filter is going to show you this person has, that's going to allow you to filter out to exactly the people that you are wanting to look at. You can also stack those filters, so looking for a specific attendee type as well as was applied a scholarship or used a discount or those kinds of things. So you can just keep adding different ones as well as searching by name at any point. So it's a really handy feature there. We're going to go ahead and look at, I think that's all I wanted to talk about on this page. Or did I want, yep, okay. So we're going to look at, for example, the Lincoln family here. So we have two attendees that have already signed up, and it's going to show us, again, the information, their attendee type, their add-ons, and their total and their discounts. So Tad was the first one, so there's no group discount there, but William here has that second child discount. So if I wanted to add another child here, so we're going to add Ed, it's going to show us the exact same attendee type. And if I wanted to send another confirmation email to let them know that I've added another person, I can do that. And now it's going to give Edward here that third child discount because that's the one that he qualifies for. So the system is always going to try to give the highest discount it can, so you don't have to worry about it not stacking quite right. If they qualify for a higher one, they're going to get it. So then I can also look here at the payments. I can see exactly how much was paid. So I can look at the information of that, see the fees. I can resend a receipt if I needed to, or I could view it directly on the Stripe dashboard or issue a refund of that thing. Let's see what we're missing here. So we're missing the medical release form, so I'm going to check them off because I've got them from them. But then here, because I've added this attendee from the admin side, it doesn't have the full information. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in what I know. And then I'm going to go ahead and check off. So since I've added this attendee from the admin side, there's no information. So I have to fill in the emergency contact when that's required. If there was any personal information missing, I would need to do that. If they wanted to purchase any add-ons or if they needed to make a change to an add-on, you could do that from here as well. And all of that, those changes can only be made from the admin side. So once we've got all that done, I'm going to refresh this page again, and it's going to show there's no yellow dots, so we know they are all good as far as the attendees, but we do have a payment due, or a balance due, so we're going to go ahead and apply a payment. And you can apply credit cards from here as well. So as long as you have the card number, you can type that all in and fill that out. But for this one, we are going to do the rest of it through the car wash. And now they are all due. There's no balance due. Each attendee is fully complete. Everything is done. So when I go back to this registration page, the list of attendees, it's going to be nice and green over here on the left. These red ones are for those ones that have a refund due, and then yellow means that they're missing some sort of information. So let's see. From an attendees page, I can also change who the contact person was. So if, for instance, I wanted it to be my husband instead of me, I could do that here. So just change that contact, and now any emails that go to this registration will go to him instead of me. I can also send an email from here. I can resend the confirmation email, send a balance due reminder email if there is one due, and send a form due reminder email if there's a form due. The send email portion is going to be just a generic email that I can type out and fill out using Markdown, and it's going to have a link to their registration that they can log in and make any changes or see the details there, or they can, but it's also going to have all that information that I type out. From here, I can also apply another discount. So those code discounts I can apply from the admin side. You can't apply a group discount or an early bird one because those are date-based or attendee-based, but those group ones will automatically apply if you have enough attendees. I can also cancel the registration from here. So if they just call in and say they're not coming at all, I can go ahead and cancel it. You can cancel specific attendees within it, but that's another thing that can only be done from the admin side. But we'll go ahead and mark these off, and then we'll apply another check payment here. And now my children are all set and ready to go. So going back to this page, I can see that we're all good there, and we're just going to go ahead and mark off that we've got all the forms from everyone. For the forms that are filled out online, the people forms, it will link to that specific submission. So if I was also an admin in the people product, I could click on here and it would open up their specific submission so I could see that for any reason. So that's really handy. But I think we're all good there. So what we're going to do is look at these other portions of the admin side. This report here is the report options. We have 3, the overview, the guest list, and the export. The overview is just going to give you that high level breakdown that you can print out and look at. This is the status of my event. It's got how many attendees I've got, how many I have for each type, what payments have come in, what method, as well as the amounts for each one, as well as the add-ons, the questions. The questions, it's only going to print off the information about a text, a multiple choice, or a yes/no question. It's not going to print off the information from a text or a paragraph type because that would just make your report really long, and this report is meant to be simple and concise. The other report is a guest list, and it's just a list of all my guests, and it's basically a spreadsheet, but with just the information about this event. We've got everyone's phone numbers, their emergency contact, we have their registration number, all of the information about these things. We can also see if they're missing a form, if they have a balance due here. Everything here is just all the information you can have as concisely as possible. And then finally is the CSV export, and that's going to have all the information about them from registrations as well as from people. So their full name, all of their contact information, their mailing address, all the things that we can in one export, we will send that to you. So it's a great thing if you need to build a graph or report some other way, or if you needed to do a mail merge or something like that. I don't know. A lot of people use it. It's great. We can also, from here, we can send an email. We can send out an email to everyone that's going to include information from this event, give them a login link, as well as any text that I wanted to add. We can also send out a balance due reminder, and that is only going to send an email to those who have a balance due. So if you need to pester those people, you can choose to only send those who haven't received them recently, so only pester certain people. Or just everyone who's got it and pester everyone again. And you can include, again, another personal message that is formatted using Markdown. can also do the form reminder email, and that's the same kind of thing where anybody who hasn't filled out a form or hasn't received a reminder or hasn't received a reminder recently. So just pick who you want to pester and send it to them. If you are doing day of signups, or if you are trying to register people from the lobby of your church, you can do that from here on the admin side. So you would just type in somebody's name, and the same way that you're adding an attendee to an already existing registration, it would be the same way that you would add a new registration. You'll have to fill out all of that information and add the payment details there, but it can all be done from the admin side without trouble. Moving on a little bit to this next part, we have the payments, and this is all the payments for this specific event. The payments tab at the top has got all the registration events that are in existence and are accepting payments. This is just the payments for my event. So I can see how many payments I've gotten, if any refunds have been issued. I can see how much money is supposed to come in once everyone is paid up, how much has been collected minus the refunded, and I can see over here how much is still missing. Looking at the specific page, I can see the Stripe fee that was collected for each payment, and if I needed to issue a refund of one, I could do that from here as well. Refunds can only be issued to the same payment method that they were collected with. So if someone paid by scholarship and needed a scholarship refund, you could do that. But if they paid by card, you can't issue the refund to the scholarship. You can only stay within those right channels. And the last part we're going to talk about is the really fun one, is assignments. So assignments are for when for example here, where every single student that has registered needs to be assigned to a cabin and a bus. It's also great for things like VBS, if you've got different classes that you have set up, or for any kind of thing that you're going to be locating people in a specific way. The goal with assignments is to get to 100% assigned. So every single attendee is going to get a cabin, every single attendee is going to get a bus. You wouldn't want to create a new assignment type for each cabin or for each bus, but I'll show you when I click on it. I've got all my different assignments areas created here. Assignments can be restricted by those different demographics, the grade, the age, or the gender, and then each one is going to have a capacity. So this is going to help us with auto assigning here in a second. So I've got them all set up based on what grade they're available for and what gender. When I click this auto assign here, it's going to filter everybody for me. It's going to be so magical. Now, it didn't do any of my cabin leaders because all of these cabins are restricted by grade and none of my leaders have grades. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and remove the grade restrictions, add in my leaders, and then put those restrictions back on. That way, if anybody registers after today, I can go ahead and auto assign them as well. And Ashley Johnson. So this is how we get around assigning leaders to our different cabins. And if I could click. So it's real quick, just remove them, assign them, and then put them back in. So I can see here everybody is assigned to a cabin that fits their assignment or fits their grade and gender. And from here, I can pull a report. I can look at everyone based on where they assignment by the different area. So this is looking at what the cabin is and who's in it, and it's broken down by attendee type. Or I can look at by attendee. So it's got a list of all my attendees and then what their assignment is. Again, broken down by attendee type. And then again, from here, I can export to CSV, which is going to have all of the information. But I don't need to do that because it is the day of my event. So now we are going to look at how this all works with check-ins. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and click on check-ins here with the assignment area, and it's going to, I don't want to open, or do I? Think I did it wrong again, but it's okay. So we're going to go ahead and go back to this main page. So from here, I can launch check-ins. I can look at my existing events or might create a new event. So with check-ins, it's going to be, you can do the whole event level, or you can do it within each assignment area. So you can launch it from here, or we're going to go ahead and switch over to check-ins and look at the event. Okay, so if you wanted to print labels with check-ins, you would need to create the event in check-ins, sync it up, and then go over to the event and click on labels and locations and add a label here. I don't want to print labels right now, but if you wanted to, you could do that. All of the restrictions from my assignment areas have carried over automatically. So you can see the different ones it's all filtering exactly the same. But then if I was going to add a label, I would do that right here. But we're not going to do that. So I'm going to go now to check-ins. So I'm ready to check everyone in. There are 3 different station modes in check-ins, and they work a little differently with registrations. So looking at my station here, that's not the station that I'm on. I am on this one. So manned station with Checkistrations event is going to be allow a manned volunteer, so it's manned by a volunteer, allow them to check in anyone who has registered or hasn't registered. It's going to, there will be some warning messages that I'll show you in a moment, and a manned station can override those. The next one is a self station, and that's for when people are checking themselves in. If there's anything wrong with their registration, if they're not fully complete, they will not be able to check themselves in. But if most of your attendees have completely filled out all the forms, made all the payments, all the questions are answered, they can go ahead and just check themselves in, and you can even print off their own labels and do everything that way. If it is a roster station, it's going to be a list of all my attendees. It's going to show me what assignment, what area they're assigned to, and allow me to just check them off pretty quickly. So I want this to be a roster station because that is the one that I need. So we're going to go this way. So now I'm looking at my roster, and it's got all of my attendees. It is sorted alphabetical by first name, and I can see what cabin they're going to. When someone walks up and checks in, I can just check it off, and they're good to go. If there is a registration that is missing information or has a balance due, when I go to check them in, it's going to tell me you can't. With a roster station, I can override those settings and still check them in, but those ones that are missing a lot of information, might want to send them over to an admin with logged into the admin side of registrations to pay their balance or fill out their forms and that kinds of things. So this has got just a list of all my attendees, and I can check them all off when everybody gets here. That is all I've got for today. If you would like to rewatch this or share the video or sign up for other trainings and future trainings, you can go again to planning.center/university. And thank you so much for watching.